Okay, this is DragonofEternity and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. In the last video, I started going through the Healer Role Questline in Endwalker. And in this video, we will be continuing said questline. So, as I have my mounted wind-up alpha with me, Blasphemy Hunter, level 87. Should I switch to... it depends on if there's any... I kind of want to see how far I can go under level. Yeah, let's just stay on the White Mage for now. Right, a new battleground, level 87. The quest to protect vulnerable Almegans leads to Uldar. Here to see Commander Aldin, I take it this way, please. I imagine I can stay at level or under level until it gets to the solo instance at the level 90 quest. Our request for an audience with the Sultana has been accepted. Before we depart, I'll share what we've learned since we last spoke. The blasphemy continues to elude us, all the while driving others to succumb to despair in turn. Even with Almegan and Uldar forces searching for signs of the beast and more potential victims, we've yet to discern a pattern in the chaos. Maybe the beast is targeting the Crania Lupi family members, maybe? Who knows? Nevertheless, if our blasphemy is like the others, its behaviour is likely dictated by the passions and regrets of the man it once was. Therefore, any information concerning him and the life he led may help us to track it down before it strikes again. We don't want people to shun the families of the skulls any more than they already are, but the fact remains that the vast majority of the beasts have been born from them. They're the ones at greatest risk of turning, without question. Fordola concerns me too. She came close to transforming once before, so I think it might be best if we keep her out of this after all. Seems like a waste of a capable soldier. She deserves a chance to make amends. Let's go with the amends. I am inclined to agree with Mary Ashner. She was able to resist the transformation, and has shown no signs of succumbing since then. If she wants to do her part, I say we let her. If only I could go in her stead. Again, we'll get you to Garland Ironworks, we'll get you in a mech suit. Actually, I was hoping you'd come with us to meet the Sultana. I believe she would benefit greatly from your understanding of the struggles of our people face. The struggles our people face. There's no of in that sentence. Well, except for the of these struggles. Anyway. You'd gained from the experience too. While she's not the sort to brandish her sword and charge into battle, that'd be fucking hilarious, you'll soon discover she's a champion of her own arena, as brave as any warrior. Nanamo going into battle with a sword. I want to see that. I doubt she'd have much to learn from the likes of me, but it would be an honour to make her acquaintance. Arnvold and I will go on ahead and wait for you in the Hustings Strip. We'll see you anon. I hope by the end of this questline you get fully healed and get out that wheelchair. That'd be amazing. Please let that happen. I guess I'll find out in about 2 hours. Speak with Raban and Uldar. To Uldar. Steps of Nald. And then I need to teleport to the Chamber of Rugal. Okie dokie. Chamber Rule, Chamber Rule, Chamber Rule. Chamber Rule. There we go. Yeah, I think I should be fine on the level 86 White Mage. Well, I think I'm only getting, what, 1.5 million? Oh, yeah, 1.5 million XP. Alright, Arnvold. It's the first time I've been back here since I discharged myself from the infirmary. Without telling anyone, mind. I must remember to stop by and offer my thanks, and an apology. Yeah, they might have found a way to get your legs working again. I only let her out of my sight for a moment. Oh boy, this again. Raban. Master Papa-Shan was just telling us that Nanamo, or should I say Lady Lyra, has gone on another of her jaunts about the city. Though it is not my place to question her Grace's judgment, I do wish she had consulted me before running off on her own. And perhaps I'm overthinking it, but it's unlike her to keep guests waiting. If I may say so, sir, with blasphemies appearing throughout the land, it's a dangerous time to be going for a stroll. I suspect that may be the very reason she wishes to see for herself how the citizenry fare in these trying times. Even so, it's downright reckless. We'll find her, though. No, I couldn't possibly allow such esteemed guests to... Come now, we may be here on official business, but we're all friends, and as you remember, I have a knack for tracking down errant sultanas. Some might say that knack is a rather charitable... I should be glad of the assistance. I'll take a look around here. Quizzing the locals will give me an opportunity to learn of recent going-ons in Uldar too. Well then, there's no time like the present, fear not. With me on the case, this'll be over before you know it. Alright, Inspector Hildebrand. Just between you and me, Raban has never had much luck at finding Lady Lyra. Rather the opposite, which isn't to say that he's misrepresenting his capabilities. Perhaps recollection of events simply differs somewhat from reality. Oof. If she's supposed to be meeting us here, maybe we should wait for her to come to us. That's the smartest thing anyone has said. Oh yeah, it's still the Easter event, isn't it? How long is that on for? I want to say another week. As of this recording. Maybe. I know the FF14 event's supposed to be coming back soon. So let's see, over here. And there's Raban. So, Raban, it's been some time since I last combed these streets for young Lyra. As a matter of fact, Papa-Shan and I would compete to see which of us could find her first. As I recall, most of the contests ended in my favour. Oh god, you are going senile. The trick, you see, is to look past the disguise and pay attention to the gestures and mannerisms. The tiniest movement might give her away. Come, I'll show you how it's done. Follow Raban's lead and try not to fall behind. Follow my lead. I'll lead the way. She's fond of perusing the stalls here. Alright. I'll go in walk mode. There we go. So I guess I'm just having a leisurely walk with Raban. Okay. Okay. She's not here. Where could she be? What if she's been abducted? In one of these pots? Perhaps not. Did I just get like a disconnect symbol there? Yes, I did. I hope my internet's okay. I've never known her to be this elusive. That's odd. I've tried all her usual haunts, so unless she's hiding inside a barrel, or something equally nonsensical, she must be elsewhere. Gods, why did she choose now of all times to run off? What if she's been abducted or run afoul of a beast? There's no need to assume the worst, we should keep looking. You're right, I know, but it's hard not to worry. Where could she be? Come to think of it, something Papa-Shan said caught my ear. he thought Nanamo went on this excursion because of the emergence of beasts and blasphemies and beasts, to better understand how her people are coping with the situation. If so, she'd be driven to seek out the most desperate and destitute. Pearl Lane, then. Might I ask you to lead the way? I'll admit, my ability to track missing persons may have dulled somewhat. Pearl Lane has been plagued by pickpockets and the like. I'll watch your back, so go ahead and give the search for Lira your full attention. Raban is now accompanying you. Whoa. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Alright, these are like dialogues you can have with people. There we go. About Pearl Lane. While it may not be immediately obvious, conditions here have improved considerably of late. Her Grace continues to support the rebuilding efforts in Girabania, which has led to the creation of jobs for many of the locals, both here and on the other side of Balesar's Wall. Okay. I mean, it kind of looks the same to me. Oh yeah, I gotta do the Reaper quest sometime. I'll be doing those in my off time. Ask about the poor. In every society, there are the haves and the have-nots, and seldom is this divide more sorely felt than here in Uldar. Many of the young and able-bodied work for Lolorito as gods, though he earns more in an afternoon than most will earn in a lifetime. Yeah, if only someone would cut him down to size, like Telegiadlegi. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Ah, I see pink. Nana, Lady Lyra. Raban, whatever are you doing here? Okay, she's fine. And Marisha too. Well, I am glad to see you both. Our meeting is not yet due to commence with several bells. What is the meaning of this? We were worried, and with good reason. These are far too dangerous times to be roaming about alone, Your Grace. Some things never change, but I assure you I am quite capable of looking after myself. In my own city of all places. More importantly, I wish to observe firsthand how the people have been faring of late, that I might be better prepared to participate in our discussion later. But I have finished. You will be comforted to hear. Then pray allow us to escort you to more amenable surroundings. Would you care to ride on my shoulder? A Lalafell riding. You're on the shoulder. Oh, that's comedy to me. That's pure comedy. Certainly not. You've already attracted more than enough attention. I wish that would be like an actual mount option one day. Like Lalafells can just ride Pavilion on any of the larger races. You could have like different positions, you could have them riding piggyback, you could have them sitting on the shoulder. It'd be great. It wouldn't be any faster, but it would be funny. Okie dokie, back to these guys. I had every faith in you and the commander would find her. Alright. I have a feeling the search would have taken far longer if Raban had been left to his own devices. Yeah. I thank you all for making the journey here during these difficult times. And it is my pleasure to properly make your acquaintance on behalf of the people of Eorzea. Allow me to express my sincerest gratitude for your continued dedication to our cause. With respect, Your Grace, I'm just a soldier. Was a soldier. Still, I say, Commander Aldin would not make such a distinction, and neither will I. You yet serve your people, and have provided solace to many of Alamigo's most vulnerable. If we are to deal with this threat, we must forearm ourselves with knowledge. I understand you come bearing information regarding the blasphemy and its victims. We have indeed. Hence the need to locate families of Crania Lupi members who have fled to FF14. There is no end to the struggles faced by Alamigan refugees, and those who once pledged allegiance to the Empire are no exception. But rest assured that, irrespective of their pasts, all will be treated with an even hand. All will be afforded such aid as I am able to provide. Magnanimous as always, Your Grace. If I might be so bold, I have a question. What do you have in mind for those most at risk of undergoing the change? Take them to the Gold Saucer, they'll be fine. I believe there is but one recourse. Earnest and open dialogue. While some are born into unimaginable wealth, others suffer great hardship and oppression. The circumstances of our birth are beyond our control. Our fate's subject to the whims of the gods, some would argue. Yeah, I'm about to kill some of those gods in 6.1. I once thought myself a prisoner to my fate, a figurehead, helpless to watch on as my people starved. A powerless puppet. I wanted nothing more than to cast it all aside, to free us all, but failed for my naivete, and then was offered a second chance for my privilege. The world is unfair, terribly so, but we have the power to push back against inequalities and injustices, if not overcome them on blessed occasions, to love our neighbour and share in life bounties, to open our hearts and come together as one. God, these words should really be spoken in real life right now. Truer words were never spoken. But without the support of the people, such words are not but vain platitudes. Thankfully, my recent attempts to make inroads with the monetarists have met with some success. Despite differing views on many subjects, we yet strive to find common ground. Common ground. We've been pouring all our efforts into aiding families of the Crania Lupi, and while it seemed to help to a degree, some have still succumbed and turned. Of course, they're not the only ones in danger. Alamegans everywhere, whether they've sided with the Empire, fought for the Resistance, or were caught in the middle, they all suffered. They all wake up in the night at times, haunted by memories of death and despair. We know what can happen if those feelings are left to fester. The legacy of the Imperial occupation will not soon be forgotten, but rather than seek to forget, mayhap it is necessary to remember, to acknowledge and accept the truth of it, that they may properly mourn those they have lost. Aye, a remembrance. I propose we hold a memorial ceremony for those who died during the war. Everyone, no matter who they were or what they did. Let them be loved, let them be hated, but above all, let them be remembered. And in the remembering of the dead, in their honour and their sin, we the living of Alamigo may yet find a sliver of common ground. It's a noble sentiment, but bringing together people who have reason to distrust one another and risk inflaming tensions could be a recipe for disaster. Then again, we can't keep ignoring the married in the room and do nothing to address the situation. As long as we leave it to the individuals to decide whether or not to attend the ceremony, I think it's worth a try. Organising an event of this scale will require a great deal of effort, so I offer my full support. Once you know what's needed, come to me and we'll put the plan into action. Obviously, some will balk at the idea, which is perfectly understandable, so I'll be listening to their opinions as well. After all, we want it to be a ceremony that brings Alamegans together. And I was wondering, Your Grace, if I might ask about your approach to, well, talking to people, winning them over. As you can tell, I'm no politician, so I'd be grateful for any advice you can share with me. Why, I would be delighted to. As a matter of fact, I have a number of matters I wish to discuss with you. And on that note, I suggest you and I return to Alamigo. Is he just going to wheel himself back to Alamigo from Moldor? That's a hell of a hike. To see the Sultana grow to become such a capable and compassionate leader, it brings a tear to my eye. Heh, wonder what Arba and Uli would say if I could tell them I had a chat with the Sultana. I can hardly believe it myself. I feel like I need to do some research. Who are those two? The relationship between Uldar and Alamigo is one which I cherish deeply. It is imperative that we coordinate our efforts in facing this crisis. Alright, speak of Ralban in the Alamican Quarter. Why is that red? Oh, can I not turn it in because I'm not high enough level? So I guess I have to switch to the bloody level 90. Okay. It was a hope. It was a hope I could get more XP on the leveling classes. I don't suppose I could. Nah. It was a hope. Alright, so Scholar. I knew Arenvold would make a good impression, but he's outdone himself. Not only has he found a new avenue in life to explore, he's taken to it with considerable aplomb. And while his proposed memorial ceremony is bound to have its detractors, I have faith that many will come round. Not all, but enough, I pray. For our part, we must stand at the ready for whatever may occur. Or occur, even. I shall send word if there are any developments. Ba-boom. Alright, level 88, laying the past to rest. Arenvold wishes to put your considerable reputation to good use. Oh boy. There you are, Marishner. Commander Eldin has asked me to convey to you the following information. At present, we are looking into reports of missing relatives of the crew of the Crania Lupi. With the cooperation of the Silver Griffins, we're currently searching for any clues as to their whereabouts. Thanks to the concerted efforts of Ragnfrid and the others, the general public has been willing to cooperate with our investigation. Though many still harbour feelings of distrust for the collaborators and their kin, they've grown more receptive to our cause on the whole. Arenvold's been making steady progress in preparing for the memorial ceremony. He plans to host a meeting between the various community leaders to go over the finer details. In fact, he was wondering whether you could assist him in delivering the invitations. If you could spare the time, you should be able to find him in the Mercantile District. Anyway, that's all for now. I've got a few matters to attend to, so if you'll excuse me, duty calls. Okie dokie. Mercantile District, where's that? Ah. So just by the ether right then. God, I remember getting the ether currents in this zone to be a royal pain in the arse to do. Arenvold, thanks for coming. It should come as no surprise that planning his memorial ceremony for a whole bloody nation would keep a man busy. But by Rolga, this is something else. The hardest part's been gathering information on those who died in the war, especially when it comes to the skulls and other conscripts. And they're the ones we need to treat most carefully. If we don't acknowledge the crimes of our kin in all their painful truth, then we do a disservice to their victims, living and dead. But if we let people paint them as monsters who did monstrous things we believe we would never do, then we perpetuate a different but no less dangerous lie. As for preparing the event itself, I'll be holding a meeting with members from each of the settlements around Garabanya. I've sent invitations to most of them already, but I was hoping you'd help me with the last two. There's Miraz Nun in the Peering Stones and Sarisha in Vira Nilaya. I'll give you one for each. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they refused, considering how their people suffered at the hands of the skulls. But I hope we can remind them that deep down we're all just people trying to survive to protect our loved ones. We may have driven the Empire from our lands, but as long as we hold fast to the grudges born of their attempts to divide and set us against one another, we'll never be free of their legacy of cruelty. With that in mind, I've included an account of my experiences with the Silver Griffins and the peoples I've met. Victims, collaborators, their friends, and their family, men and women who lived through it all, survivors. Even if they refuse to join the ceremony, at least they will know, and hopefully understand, our reasons for holding the event. Granted, I've not had much practice in writing important letters, but I think they'll get the message. You, being the one to deliver them, will make a world of difference, I'm sure. Take care, won't you? Okie dokie. Okie dokie. So, peering stones. Teleport to the peering stones. I wonder if there's any different dialogue if you've done the Anantabeast tribe quest. I guess I'm about to find out. Let's see. Maraznun. Greetings, friend. It has been too long since we last spoke. What brings you to my village? I have Arenvald's invitation. The weight of the words within is almost tangible, in addition to the weight of the paper itself. Thanks, Koji. No, it's not Koji. It's, yeah, it is Koji. So the rumours are true. I need not read this letter in full to know its contents. I understand that Ragenfred's volunteers are working to support the families of those lost in the war, which few will deny is a worthy cause, but to include the relatives of the Crani and Lupi? The Skulls watched the Empire slay us in our thousands, and still they turned their cloaks and fought for our oppressors, and you would ask us to mourn the deaths of these curs alongside their victims? I ask only let you read the rest of the letter. You have every right to be angry and to refuse. Arenvald wishes only let you read his account before coming to a decision. Alright, let's go for the long-winded one. To dismiss it out of hand would be discourteous. Very well. Is he going to throw it into the fire? Family. As Nun, my tribe is my family, and I know all too well the responsibility that brings. I would do anything to protect them. Anything. Loyalty, pride, conscience, my very soul, all are meaningless if I cannot ensure the safety of those I love. I suspected some Skulls had been faced with the selfsame choice, but to see how their kin suffered, I cannot say I do not understand, though I wish that I did not. Their crimes will never be forgiven. They cannot be. But I and any others who are willing can offer our prayers for these tortured souls and the men they could have been. Wife approves. I accept the invitation not on behalf of the M tribe, but as Maraznun, for I will put the question to my people that they may decide for themselves. I am also eager to make the acquaintance of the person who wrote this letter. He is not wont to turn a blind eye to the bitter truth, painful though it is to confront. The meeting will be the perfect opportunity to take his measure. That was a heavy scene. And we're about to... Okay, can I get the flying? There we go. And we're about to meet the Ananta, who... One faction summoned a god due to the Skulls killing their daughter. Oh boy. Although the faction's not here, it's like over here. Right then, Sarisha. Welcome to what do we owe the pleasure of your visit? Arenvald's invitation. Alright, these guys say S's a lot. Oh, it's going to be like the police Hagen again, isn't it? Then it is then it is as I suspected. There have been rumours that such a ceremony would take place. Although you have travelled far to make this invitation, I must decline. We cannot mourn the loss of the fallen if the Crania Lupi are to be counted among them. Like the Kalyana, they chose to aid the Garlean oppressors, killing and bleeding for those who would pillage our lands. Cowards and traitors, alls. And we are to assume that Kalyana, who died fighting for the Empire, will be honoured as well? If so, that is all the more reason for us to refuse. This is your right, and no one will say otherwise. I come only to present a letter and ask that you read in full. Arenvald understands and accepts that you might refuse. His only request was that you read his account and then decide. If you insist. I suppose it's not as bad as Sargon when I have to do the shh sounds. Dot. No one was spared suffering in the occupation. Not the resistance, and not the collaborators. Not the families of both. No one. That so many would die in shame and ignominy, having sold their souls, only to lose everything. It is a tragedy and a lesson. If they are forgotten, then the lesson of their folly is forgotten. For the sake of this land we call home, I will join you in remembrance, and implore my people to do the same. In mourning, may we strengthen our ties to our neighbours as well. By together facing our past, we can build a foundation for lasting peace and prosperity. It would be my honour to attend the proposed meeting, and I look forward to personally thanking your friend Arenvald for his dedication. I and my peers have much to learn from the example he has set. Arenvald becoming a big shot. He may rival Alphinaud one day. Alright, back to Arenvald then. And hopefully that's the last of the bloody S's I have to do. Voicing the beast tribes is hard on the throat. Hey, Arenvald. So, how did you fare in the fringes? They said that about me? It's rare for me to get such glowing praise, especially from renowned leaders like Sarasha and Miraz Nun. More importantly, though, they agreed to attend the meeting, and I've got you to thank for that. After all, I imagine it's hard to turn down an invitation when it's hand-delivered by the Warrior of Light herself. Before I get ahead of myself, though, I must remember that this is only the beginning. Bringing everyone together is one thing, coming to an agreement on an extremely divisive issue is a different kettle of fish entirely, as her grace was quick to point out. But as she's taught me, if our cause is just, and our hearts are true, those of like mind will surely answer the call. And answer it they have. While there are bound to be differences of opinion, I'm sure there's nothing we can't overcome if we put our minds to it. To that end, I was hoping you could join us, if you've time to spare. There are still a few loose ends Ragnfrid and I need to tie up beforehand, so we'll meet you in the palace as soon as we can. Just having you there will make a world of difference. Once we've got everything in order, we'll meet you at the palace. Okay. Oh, let's see. Royal Palace Guard. Here for the meeting, yes? Yep. Oh, we even got the Ratman. I'm surprised they didn't become a beast tribe. Although I guess we had them in the first, in Shadowbringers. So while we all agree upon the importance of the ceremony, we recognise that the inclusion of the Crania Lupi will be distressing for many. I too lost family at their hands, and I would never ask others to forgive and forget. But for all their crimes, they were Alamegans, just like us. None made the decision to side with Garlemald lightly. They had a choice, and they chose to betray us. Who among us were... Would? There's no would in that sentence. Who among us have not made difficult choices for kith and kin, and do not forget that Fordola chose to stand between us and a primal. What does that have to do with it? My god, there are some whingy assholes in this group. Brothers and sisters, arguing will avail us naught. The fate of Alamigo rests on my shoulders and yours, on those of every man, woman and child that calls these lands home. To uphold our honour, to strive for prosperity, to protect our loved ones, we all know the weight of these responsibilities. 'Twas that selfsame weight which drove many of our people to serve our oppressors, misguided as it was. And though they chose a different, unconscionable path, in the end, we all wanted the same thing, to deliver our families from prosecution, that they might live to see one more day, because another day in shame and self-hatred was still better for none at all. The regretful dead are survived by their despair, a despair which threatens to drag us all into an abyss, from where there is no escape. No, that it surely will, if we welcome it into our hearts out of disdain for those we cannot forgive. But we Alamegans will not be so easily defeated. We will stand united and conquer this menace. Every Alamegan who fought and died did so in the hopes that one day we would be free. And we are free. We are free. By the blood of our fallen brothers and sisters, we are free. Free to lock away the pain and pretend it has no power over us, until it festers and takes us in our beds. And free to lay it bare and let it breathe. To acknowledge and to mourn our people at their best and their worst. The past is ours to bear, all of it, for ourselves and for future generations, so that they needn't suffer like we did. Let us make Alamigo a nation where no man is left behind, where he can make all the wrong choices and still be afforded a chance to make a right one. Still using the Stormblood music. Yep. Well, we are in a Stormblood zone. Right, rub on. That went better than any of us could have hoped for. You have my gratitude for your part in the proceedings, but we both know who the real hero of the day was. This was all Arenvald's idea, and it was his words that finally won over the naysayers. Now we have the community leaders on our side, and we should have a much easier time convincing the rest of the citizenry. Of course, holding ceremony is by no means our final objective. No matter what we say, some will refuse to attend. It is my hope, however, that it will still serve to provide a measure of closure for us all, and to ease the plight of the vulnerable and ostracized. Speaking which, you will recall the incident with Fordola in Alagana. The young girl she saved and her mother wished to thank her personally. Considering what happened last time, though, I have reservations. It would be a valuable opportunity to present a former skull in a more positive light. On the other hand, I don't need you to tell you how unpredictable she can be. And that's before taking her echo into consideration. But that's a conversation for another day. Go and get some rest. You've earned it. Whoa. Alright, I think I can do this one in this video. Trail of Skulls. The Blasphemy Hunter may seem calm and collected from a distance, but you suspect something is amiss. Something terrible has happened. What? It's Fordola. She's escaped. She was accompanying a squadron out on a training exercise. One moment she was there, and the next she was gone. I didn't think much of it at the time, but she's been acting strangely ever since she went to meet that mother and child. You know, the ones who wanted to thank her for saving the girl's life. When I told Commander Aldin about it, he went charging off to Alagana to ask if they have any idea where Fordola might be. I thought about going after him, but when I heard you were headed this way, I reckoned it would be better to send you in my stead. Godspeed. Oh no. Oh no. Trail of Skulls, Trail of Skulls. Alright, Flying Mount Roulette. What do I get this time? Kieran. I hope I get to fight him in Four Lords Ultimate. That'd be fun. Right. Arnold. Gods be good. What is she thinking? I know you. You're friends with the brave lady, aren't you? Have we done something wrong? We're about to find out. Marishna, I wasn't expecting to see you here. You've heard what's happened then. Just as Fordola was beginning to earn our trust, she's given us a slip. As you may know, she wears a choker that is designed to do exactly that if its enchantment is triggered. It's supposed to prevent her from escaping. If I were to give the order, she would be dead within moments, and she knows that. She took the risk anyway, so I have to believe she has a good reason. That's what we're looking into now. We were hoping Clarel and young Lily here could shed some light on the matter. Oh, they have names. We'd like to ask you about your conversation with Fordola, if we may. Yes, of course. I know she's the butcher, or was at least, but it didn't seem right to go without thanking her. That's why I requested the meeting, to express my gratitude, and my apologies. She was quiet at first, just stood there as we spoke, as if she weren't even listening. And then I mentioned the blasphemy, and she looked at Lily, and all of a sudden clutched her own head and cried out in agony. The echo. Can you remember what you were thinking about at the time? A man. The one I saw in the city. What? Who? Did he have something to do with all these people panicking? Oh, she watched him transform, didn't she? I think he did. When I was waiting for you, I saw him. He was by himself. He looked poorly, so I asked if he was alright, and he said yes. He had a nice smile. He got up and started walking, but then... He was shouting and screaming. I was so frightened I didn't want to talk about it, not even to Mum. I wish you'd said something sooner. I'm sorry, Poppet. This is my fault for leaving you on your own. The man who turned into a blasphemy, I'd wager the girl saw him, which means Fordola has now seen him too. There was one other thing. When Fordola was having her funny turn, she said something. Charlie? No, Charlotte, I think. Yes, that was it. Ring any bells? Can't say it does, but if he has anything to do with the skulls, the Silver Griffins should have some information on him. We'd best have a word with Ragnford then. Now we're about to get the identity of the blasphemy. You've both been very helpful. I'd also like to thank you for being so kind to Fordola. She may not have said it, but I'm sure it meant a lot to her. I have a couple more things to ask, so I'll catch up with you later. Oh, is it going to be the name of the person that she grew up with? Fordola may be everything people say she is, or worse. But she did us a good turn that day. I'll never forget it. Where did the brave lady go? I'm about to find out. Whatever she's dealing with, she didn't face it alone. I wish I could have told her that. Even though I know she probably wouldn't have listened. Ay, ay, ay. I have a feeling that this Charlotte and Fordola are connected in some way. Charlotte, you say? Yes, that name came up during our recent investigations. As I recall, he served under the Viceroy during the occupation, and his whereabouts is currently unknown. He had an older brother named Ansfrid, one of the Crania Lupi, which would give him a connection to Fordola. Is there anyone who can tell us more about him? Yes, an uncle who we recently helped find employment here in Algana. He's actually the one who asked us to look for Charlotte. You'll most likely find him working at the Sleeping Stones. As it happens, I was planning to bring him something to eat. I'll join you there shortly. You might think a quarry is no place for a man of advanced years, and perhaps you'd be right, but hard times are the only times we've known, even before this occupation, and I doubt that'll change much within my lifetime. Oof. So, we're going all the way over here then. Okie dokie. Yeah, I'm getting a sense of what happened here. Maybe Fordola's here to apologize to him. Who knows? Oh god, what if she is? That would be a thing. So, let's see, still flying that way. Where is he? Will he's doing this by enemies? Uh-oh. Perhaps we should have asked what he looks like. Oh shit! Still looking, eh? That's him over there. I hope we're not interrupting. No, of course not. It's good to see you, Ragnfrid. My word, the Bull of Alamigo and the champion of the Alliance. What brings such esteemed guests to our humble, quarry? At ease, my good fellow, we merely wish to ask you about your nephew. Charlotte, you found him? About that. No luck yet, then. Is there anything else you can tell us? More about his childhood, perhaps? Wasn't much of one, I'm afraid. Poor boy's life was ruined before he had any say in the matter. His parents and I swore allegiance to Garlemald to secure ourselves and our kin's citizenship. For all the good it did us, living amongst our countrymen who treated us as pariahs. Took its toll on him and his brother, to be spat on as traitors by association. One thing led to another, and Ansfrid, together with most of his friends, joined the Imperial Army. That's how it started, you know. The Craniae Lupi, Gaius's loyal little pups. Do you remember the names of these friends? Yes, they had quite the reputation growing up. There was Emmeline, Rudolph, and the angry little girl who'd grow up to become the butcher herself for Dola. Alright, childhood friends. Charlotte was part of their group too, yes, but from what we've heard, he chose not to become a soldier. Winter lasted a day in training. He knew that better than anyone, of course. Not that it helped him to feel any less guilty for turning his back on the others. He blamed himself for their deaths, for not stopping them when he had the chance, for not being strong enough to fight by their side. Maybe save them, maybe not. But he wasn't there, and he wished he had been. Then one day, he was gone. Wherever he is, I hope he's safe and well about that. So do we. Thank you. The information you've shared should prove useful. And for you, I brought some food. Why don't you call it a day and go and enjoy it with your family? Let him have the peace for now. Back to Alagana. Yeah, we don't want to tell him that his nephew has turned into the bloody blasphemy, which is turning other people into beasts. That probably caused him to turn into a beast. Speaker of Alban again. Back to Alagana. So still no news about Fodola then. Wonder if she'll be free after this questline. Who knows. Ehrenfeld, Ragnfrid, and Raubon. The little girl's worried about Fodola. As for the mother, well, it's complicated. Understandable, really. Once we know for certain what's become of Charlotte, we'll have to tell his uncle. So, not only was his brother a member of the Skulls, but Charlotte himself was a childhood friend of Fordola's. I'm told he refused the support of the Silver Griffins as well. He's been trying to make his own way for some time now. His brother and his friends died at Specula Imperatoris, save for Fordola, who ordered the cannon to be fired at that place. And the gods only know how he felt about her after that. Or how Fordola felt about Charlotte after seeing Lily's memory of him transforming into a blasphemy. Brother of a man she killed and a childhood friend besides. She thinks she's responsible for this. That's why she ran. To kill the beast. Without a healer. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm worried about her. Fordola is a survivor and an outcast herself. Exactly the sort of person the Silver Griffins are trying to support. You've seen for yourself the sacrifices she's willing to make. And if you can learn to feel sympathy for her, maybe others can too. I think we have enough information for the time being. Let's return to the city and plan our next move. Is this an actual short quest? That'd be amazing. As the saying goes, history is written by the victor. And I'll wager those who swore loyalty to Garlemald never thought they'd find themselves on the losing side. But they did. And they paid a price. Maybe not enough for some, but we've got to draw a line somewhere. To some, Fodola is a monster worse than any blasphemy. But I've seen enough working with the Silver Griffins to realise it's never that simple. I want to believe there's hope for her. That there's hope for all of us. And turn in. So then that just leaves the level 90 quest for next time. Yeah, I should be able to save that one for next time. Okie dokie. I've assigned a few of my soldiers to assist the Silver Griffins in investigating Charlotte's background. With luck, we will find him quickly, and then we can prepare for what must become after. We're all but certain Charlotte's the one who transformed into a blasphemy, and so there's naught to be done but put him out of his misery. As for Fodola, I put Minago and her troops in charge of tracking her, Once they found her, they have my permission to lend whatever support they deem necessary. If it comes to it, I may ask you to join the search. Until such time, I ask that you take this opportunity to rest. Ba-boom. So that just leaves the final quest, the Gift of Mercy. Okie dokie, I will be saving that for next time then. So, yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. This has been DragonofEternity going through more Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. In this video, I went through the 3rd, 4th and 5th quest of the Healer Role Questline in Endwalker. Next time, we'll be going for the 6th and final quest in the Healer Role Questline. And then there'll be all of the role questlines done, except for the 6.1 questline. Slowly but surely I'm getting through all the content. Slowly but surely. So yeah, with that planned out, viewers, my rambling, hopefully now finally done. Until next time.